Sam tells me she got emails from people in a few countries with plans and layouts for their dream ranch, dairy, or farm, and that there would be a national seminar in Europe in 3 days we could attend, as well as one in North America next week. I tell her to plan on us attending both and see if there was an Asian equivalent. I also tell her we would look at the dream plans before I turned in for the night. I asked Sam if she can get an update from Riker as to the number of PGs completed and what else we should be making or getting done for Arcadia and the other planets in the Guardian systems. I tell you, Sam is quick. She gets back to me a few minutes later telling me that Riker has 2 out of the 5 PGs completed with the AC and 3 out of 4 BCs finished in the 3rd PG. She goes on to say that the space station is 15% completed and that Riker says I might want to think about purchasing a couple Bjornor refineries for the Guardian solar systems. The Bjornor refineries are a very good idea. We could probably use another one here as well. I asked Sam about getting 3, 1 more for here, and 2 for the Guardian solar systems. How much would they cost and how long before we would have them here and in our systems? She said they are usually ordered well ahead of time and built to order, but she would get a first to find out what the situation is. We looked over the dream plans for the ranches, dairies, farms, etc., and they all look doable to me. Nothing outlandish or supersized. The European seminar is being held in Paris, so we decide to go early and do some sightseeing. The view of Paris at night from the top of the Eiffel Tower is something to see. We hit the usual tourist areas and soon have some paparazzi tagging along taking photos. I tell you, they have no respect for others at all. At times, they almost hit us with their cameras as they shove them in our faces. From now on, our security detail will be visible when we are out on the street. We duck into a small bistro and Sam transports us back to the J&J lesson learned. Ha ha ha! The seminar itself was okay, but those in charge of the different associations were a bunch of conceited assholes, telling me that they would need to oversee the industry on Arcadia, that they would need this amount for a salary plus a whole bunch of other perks. Yeah, somehow I don't think so. Sam, please tell me these arrogant pricks haven't been invited to Arcadia. They have not, DD, and from their subscores, they won't be. Shall I add them to the No Way Jose list? Oh, thank God. Yes, make sure they are on that list. I thank them for the information and tell them we are still many months away from gathering colonists and leaving Earth for Arcadia. Yes, it is a polite way of saying, you ain't coming with us. The actual people who owned and/or worked in the industry were very different than the conceited assholes that ran it. Many were family-owned operations that were just making ends meet, what with the ever-increasing costs and decreasing prices for their products, as well as the difficulty in competing with the big corporations. Many of them had looked at the website and the areas we had designated for their industry and were impressed if it was all true. Some of the older folks asked about opportunities for their children on Arcadia, as they wanted them to have a fresh start and not be saddled with the family's current debts. I tell them that if they went to Arcadia, they'd receive a medical checkup which would add around 25 years to their life, so they shouldn't exclude themselves just because of their age. Depending on the acreage, equipment, livestock, etc., Arcadia may buy their assets or pay off their debts if they migrated to Arcadia. I would then put everything we didn't take with us up for sale. I said that the proposed wages, salaries, costs, etc. that are posted on the website were projected and that everyone would be working for me at first. But I hoped that many would want to buy the business at a later date or continue working for me and keep receiving the salary. I thought this way everyone would be able to find out for themselves if they wanted to buy and go on their own or not. I did remind them that they had to take the enhanced cap test to be considered. A lot more seemed to be interested now than were previously. I guess only time would tell, and we'd see by how many took the enhanced test. We checked in with Larry and Sarah, and both were working with the first on tweaking their sections of the website. Sarah did ask how long until we got an orphanage, as she wanted to get actual photos and selfies for her section to give it a more inviting feel. I tell Sarah we check on some properties and get back to her. I remind them both of the need to look worldwide and not just North America. I tell them they shouldn't have any problems with languages as they both have ULTs now, and not to hesitate letting us know if they needed anything. Sam thinks I should do a TV interview and give an update on our progress and plans. So we agree to see if our favorite reporter is interested. I call Angela McKee, and someone else answers her number saying, "Hello. Hello, this is Didier Sanderson, Guardian Prime of Arcadia. May I speak with Angela McKee, please?" "Yeah, right." As if the Guardian Prime of Arcadia would be calling little Angela. I can hear someone screaming in the background asking, why was he answering her phone and who was calling? Some dude says he is Didier Sanderson, Guardian Prime of Arcadia. "Give me my phone and don't ever answer it again." "Hello, Didius, this is Angela. Sorry about that. A colleague decided he'd answer my phone while I was away from my desk for a minute." "Hi, Angela. Yes, it's me. Are you working now?" "I hope not at my favorite media corp. Ha ha ha." "Yes, I'm working, and it's not at your favorite place. They did offer me a job after seeing my interview with you, but we're hoping I'd be able to get interviews with you." I knew that even though we get along well enough, you wouldn't take questions from anyone working for them. "Hey, I see you and Sam are still together, and in Paris. Ooh la la. Now that we've done the pleasantries, what can I do for you?" "Sam and I were wondering if you'd be interested in doing an interview with us about how things are progressing and see for yourself what we've got going on." "Are you freaking kidding me? You're asking me if I'm interested in doing an interview with the most sought-after public figure in the world?" I had to hold my cell a ways from my ear as she was shouting quite loudly. I think everyone in the company she worked for knew now. "Calm down a bit, Angela. No need to shout and deafen me, okay? Yes, I am serious. We would do most of the interview here on the J&J, but we'd also take a trip to the Pacific Ocean and out to the asteroid belt to show you our gear out there. Sorry for shouting DD, but you don't know how excited this makes me. Yes, 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 I want to go. Hang on while I ask the boss." I hear Angela yell at her boss asking him if she can go do an interview with Didier Sanderson, Guardian Prime of Arcadia in the Guardian Solar Systems, and first of the first. I don't think he believes her as I hear him say, "Yeah, whatever, go ahead." I don't think he believes me, but I'm coming with you. "What time will you beam me up?" "I hate you, Angela. I haven't been able to say beam me up yet, and now you beat me to it." "Ha ha ha. Sam will call you with the time and where you should be for her to come and get you. You won't need a cameraman, as we'll provide you with any footage you want." "Okay, cool. Thank you so very much for this, DD. This is a fantastic opportunity, and I really appreciate it." "You are welcome, Angela. You are a good, honest reporter, and I don't mind helping you if I can. See you tomorrow." Sam tells me of an apartment complex consisting of 2 buildings, 18 floors with 288 apartments total in each building. The 2 would house around 2,300 persons at 4 to an apartment. The buildings are empty, as what few residents remained after an extraction moved elsewhere. The owner was one of the people extracted, and the building went to his kids. His kids were moved to one of the government housing places, and the buildings put up for sale. I tell Sam to make an appointment to see them and to find out who the money from the sale would go to. I also ask her to see if she can find the kids. Maybe they'd be people to take to Arcadia, or at the very least want to live back in their old home. Sam informs me we have an appointment to see the buildings at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Well, I guess our time here in Paris is over after 3 days, so I ask Sam to take us back to the J&J. Sam and I arrive at the apartment buildings about 15 minutes early, as I wanted to take a look at them from the outside. I don't know why they call them a complex, as from the outside they appear to be 2 buildings side by side. The realtor arrives early as well and explains that many years ago it was one huge office building, but then when condos became all the rage, new owners renovated them into condo apartments. They're listed as a complex as they have shared amenities on the first couple floors in the central areas of the 2 buildings. The buildings are being sold on behalf of the owner's teenage children, though they weren't too happy being forced out of their home. The listing has been open for 3 months now and titles are free and clear. Sam asks where the owners are now, as she'd like to talk to them if we buy the buildings, and the realtor gives her their names and address. We enter the first building, and inside everything still looks clean and in good condition. The realtor says the main entrance I cleaned weekly, but the hallways on each floor and apartments themselves are not. The entrance is currently secured with self-locking doors and access is via key or video intercom. The elevators are working properly, and we use them to check out some apartments on several different floors, where I take a look down the stairways as well. A bit dusty as expected, but they still looked in good condition and everything worked when I tried them. Sam gets them first to inspect the buildings from top to bottom, inside and outside, and let us know of any deficiencies. What do you think of them? Several first will start immediately, DD. The place fits our needs for the orphanage, and it could remain operating, collecting orphans even after we've gone to Arcadia. The young are the future is how the saying goes, doesn't it? Excellent idea about keeping it open and operating after everyone migrates, Sam. We could migrate orphans until the first swarm arrive. Make sure we let Sarah know about that. I like what I've seen and tell the realtor I'll offer the asking price minus 10% in cash, and it will be my responsibility to have any problems fixed. We fill out the paperwork, and she says she will take it to the owners now and see if they will accept it. I ask if we can go with her, as we have something we'd like to ask them before she lets them know of our offer. We meet the kids, Darrin and Debbie, 14-year-old boy and girl twins, and they get a sad, dejected look on their faces when I tell them we are thinking of buying their buildings. The look changes when I ask them if they'd be interested in moving back into their home if we do. Can we do that? They say in unison. We were told we couldn't stay there on our own. Well, number one, you wouldn't be living there on your own. There will be many others living in the buildings as well. If we buy the buildings, we will be using them to house others that are between 14, 18 years old until we leave for Arcadia. And number two, Darrin interrupts excitedly saying, you're Dedeus, and you're Sam. Please take us to Arcadia with you. Don't leave us here, please. Darrin leans in and whispers that the man who lives in the house is looking at Debbie all the time, and they are both scared he will try to rape her. Okay, as I was about to say, number two, you are both considered adults by the government, so there is no legal reason for you to stay here. If you want, you can come with us when we leave here, and we'll introduce you to the girl that will be taking care of the buildings and probably some of the people that will live there. Have you both taken the enhanced cap test? They look at each other and then say they will come with us even if we don't buy the places, and they haven't been allowed to go and take the enhanced test. I tell them we will make sure they can take the test if they want to. The realtor steps up at that point and says that we have made a fair offer on both buildings and hands them the offer sheet. Neither of the twins takes a long time reading it before signing it, and the realtor says she will file the paperwork as soon as she gets back to the office. I ask if we can have the keys now, and she can send Sam the pertinent banking information to receive our wire transfer and let us know when the final paperwork is ready to be signed. She gives me the keys and leaves us with the kids, I guess forgetting she gave us a ride there. Sam contacts Sarah and see if she can meet us at our apartment buildings. Don't mention that we bought anything. Let's give her a little surprise, okay? Darrin, Debbie, if you want to come with us, grab your stuff, and let's get out of here. They race off somewhere to get their things. Sarah will meet us at the address in 45 minutes, DD. Thanks, Sam. What do you think of the twins? They seem to be decent kids, certainly well-behaved and still respectful, considering being forced from their home and having to live here. The twins come running up to us, pulling a suitcase each with a chubby guy following behind them. Where do you think you're going with the kids? He says. You can't take them anywhere. They are 14 years old and considered adults by the government, so they can go wherever they wish to, and they wish to leave with us. Is that everything you have, guys? Are you ready to leave? Yeah, this is all that's left. Let's get out of here, okay? Debbie says. The chubby guy grabs her by the arm saying, You ain't going anywhere, little girl. 2 steps and I have chubby guy pinned to the wall 6 inches off the floor by his throat. You ever touch her again, you won't be alive to regret it. You understand me? I drop the guy to the floor and turn to leave. I hear a loud electrical spark-like sound and look behind me to see chubby guy doing the funky chicken on the floor, and 3, one standing there. I look at her and she says, I didn't think he understood you, sire. I laugh and say, let's go. Sam transports us to the building, and the twins think it's awesome that we can travel like that. We tell them they can't stay here yet, but we'll stay with Sarah for now until we've completed checking the building out and ensure all the utilities, etc. are connected. We put their suitcases inside the front doors and wait for Sarah. Sarah arrives, and after introducing her to Darrin and Debbie, I take her back outside and ask her what she thinks of the place. She looks at the building and says, Is this going to be the Arcadia orphanage here on Earth? It looks to be a lot smaller than what you were talking about wanting. How many people can live in it? Well, it is smaller than what we had talked about until you include the building beside it, and then it is only smaller in capacity by around 100 people. We bought both buildings from Darrin and Debbie, and they are connected in the center area. There are 576 apartments in total, so we can house around 2,300 people. We have first checking out the building right now and hope it can be lived in very soon. You want to go inside and check it out? What you think, Dee Dee? Sarah laughs and heads back inside. The twins show us the apartment that was their home, and I tell them they can have it again if they want it, and ask if they'd be willing to share it with another boy and girl, as it's a 2-bedroom apartment. Neither has a problem sharing the place. All the apartments need furnishing, so I tell Sarah to decide what she wants for one apartment, and we'll have replicators make them for every apartment. I ask her to take care of the twins and make sure they go take the enhanced cap test if they want to, and explain that if they want to go to Arcadia, they have to take the enhanced test. We head back outside, and I explain to the twins that Sarah will explain Arcadia and things to them, and that if they have any questions or need anything to ask her. I see an ATM and ask them to hold on before leaving and go to the ATM and withdraw $1,000. I give $500 to each of the twins and tell them to buy themselves clothes and whatever else they need to tide them over until they have access to the monies from selling the buildings. Sarah says she'll take care of them and to let her know as soon as they can move into the apartments. Sam and I see a small restaurant halfway down the block that says soup and sandwiches in the window, and my stomach must have seen it as well because it makes a growling noise. We decide to try it out and go inside. An elderly man greets us, telling us his name is Ernie and says we must be new to the neighborhood as he's never seen us before. I tell him we are and that we just bought the first 2 apartment buildings in from the corner. Ah, yes, it's a shame that Darrin and Debbie are so young and had no way to keep them when their dad got extracted. Both are very smart, you know, and have good enough scores themselves to have been extracted, but they weren't home when it happened. I met them and they seemed like good kids. I didn't know that the reason they didn't get extracted was because they missed the extraction. You will probably see them in the neighborhood again as they will be moving back into their old apartment as soon as the buildings have been checked out. There'll be a lot of people moving in there shortly. We are given menus and I choose the soup and sandwich daily special. I explain that Sam doesn't eat or drink, but I'll pay a cover charge for her. Ernie says not to worry about it and he'll be right back with my food. He comes back in a few minutes with my food and a lady who is probably his wife with him. A small, thin lady with a big smile on her face. Good afternoon, Your Majesty, Sam. Welcome to our little restaurant. Ernie tells me you are the new owners of the twins' buildings. Welcome to the neighborhood. I'm Bernice, but call me Bernie. And don't you dare make a crack about Bernie and Ernie, 'cause we probably heard them all, she says, laughing. Good afternoon, Bernie. It's our pleasure to meet you. But what's with the Majesty thing? Now, young man, I know who you both are. Ernie told me not to say anything, but I just can't help myself. You're Dadeus, Guardian Prime of Arcadia and the Guardian Solar Systems, and First of the First, and you young lady are Sam, his PA, right hand, and girlfriend, though neither one of you admits to the girlfriend part yet. Yes, Bernie, you got it all correct except the girlfriend thing, even the long-winded titles that I can hardly ever get right. But please know Your Majesty, sir, or anything like that. I am just Dadeus, and please call me DD. You got a pretty good memory to remember all that trivia, Bernie. Yep, everything is still in working order. Well, except too old to have kids anymore, so I'm stuck here until the end. How about you, Ernie? Have you taken the cap test or the enhanced test? No. With Bernie ineligible for extraction, I have no interest in going. The kids and their families are gone already, and we're too old to be considered for migration to Arcadia, so we figured on living out our lives here. Who says you're too old for migration to Arcadia? Well, we are in our 70s, you know. Isn't that too old? No, sir, it isn't too old at all. We want grandparents to migrate, to pass down their experience and knowledge to others, and our technology will add at least a couple decades to normal lifespans, comfortable decades. You also have experience running a business and could do so on Arcadia as well. Please go take the tests and read over our website. I think you'll find it very interesting. And when you take the cap test and get more than then a 6.5 say no when they ask if you volunteer for the Confederacy. If you say yes and are caught in an extraction, they will take you and leave Bernie behind. Okay, DD, we'll do that. Now eat up before your soup gets any colder than our yakking has already made it. I dig into the soup and get a spoonful of big chunks of meat and vegetables. Looks good and tastes as good as it looked. Taking a bite of the tuna salad sandwich, I find it to be tasty as well. Shit. Sam contacts Sarah ASAP and tell her to have the twins change their yes to a no when they go to take the enhanced test. That is, if they no longer want to volunteer for the Confederacy. Sarah has been informed. They are going now before going to the mall. The first have finished checking the building, and there are no problems of any kind. They did ask about installing an Arcadian power source, APS, to supply power for the building, and a more secure system to the building entrances and apartment doors. The APS would be more reliable than the current system, and the Arcadian security system will provide better building and apartment security through the person's Arcadia card security system. No card, no access. Excellent ideas. Give them the go-ahead and to let us know when they are done. And thank them for me, okay? All taken care of, DD. Bernie came over just after I finished my soup and asked how it was. My compliments on the food, Bernie. It was great and enough to fill me, but not make me want a nap. Ha ha ha. I'm glad you enjoyed it, DD. Come back anytime you want. I paid the bill and was just thinking about asking Sam for a lift to the J&J when she said the realtor just called and the paperwork is ready for our signatures. So off to the realty office we went. Half an hour later, we were done and the buildings were ours. Now it was time for Sam to take us back to the J&J. Back on board, I did some more reading on Arcadia et al., and Sam made some calls. Sam called to set things up with Angela for the interview. She tells Angela to put the word out with the other newsies that we will give a short progress report in front of the office building tomorrow morning, but not to mention that she'd be getting a more in-depth report. Sam tells her we will pick her up then, and we may invite a few others. She also tells me that there are 3 Bjorn ore refineries available immediately if we go get them. They can be towed by an AC ship using its tractor beam, but at greatly reduced speeds. They would still arrive in both systems within 2-3 weeks. The Bjorn said they will triple the numbers of automated mining bots, plus include full lifetime warranties for all 3 refineries, if Arcadia will look at and stabilize a sun in one of their systems. Well, it's not like I would know if this is a great deal or not, but if it will help the Bjorn and the First agree, then let's do it. If you agree, then the First agrees, sire. You are our first, and what you say goes. Sam, you know me better than that. I don't know everything about First customs or laws, and I will not do anything that would go against those customs or laws if I possibly can. Whenever possible, I will seek input from the First when something I want to do affects them. There are no more Arcadians, so I don't need to think too much about their customs or laws. I have made the laws I feel are necessary for now, and Arcadian customs will come in time. That is your choice, DD. I just wanted to remind you that you are the ruler of the First as well as Arcadia, and can make decisions for our race. That said, the First have all agreed to look at and stabilize the Bjorn star if it is possible to do so. If you want, I will have Riker send the 3 ACs to tow the ore refineries in the First to check out the star. I hear and understand what you're saying, Sam. Yes, have Riker take care of getting the ore refineries, and ask the First to give us an update when they know more about the situation with the Bjorn sun. It has been done, DD. Thanks, Sam. Now let's look at those dream plans again, and then I will see you in the morning. You too, girls. I got some sweet dreams and giggles in response. After looking at the plans, I tell Sam we will need to have other farmers look at them and get their opinions. I say goodnight again and head for the sleep trainer. I'm going to have to ask Sam if there is any way of incorporating the sleep trainer training into my bed. It's not like I'm enclosed in the sleep trainer when I'm taking a course. It would be nice to take a course and just continue sleeping instead of having to wake up and get into bed. Wake up time. I need a coffee, then the gym, shower, and breakfast. I see Sam and some of the girls sitting around in various styles of dress, from see-through teddies to floor-length translucent lingerie gowns to short, barely covering their ass robes. You are all looking very nice this morning, ladies. I really hope you girls keep wearing these outfits when you have your realistic bodies, I say, wiggling my eyebrows. You better believe we will, sire, they say, giggling. You are in a good mood this morning, Dee Dee. Anything I should know? I am in a good mood, Sam. Things seem to be working out, and so much has happened in such a short period of time. Crazy! When we go to the office today, I want you to transport us to the area in front where we have the news conferences. I want to ensure we are seen transporting, so it is well known we can transport. They know the Confederacy has transporters. I'll just tell them ours are more like Star Trek transporters than Confederacy transporters. I go into my bedroom and start getting changed into my Guardian Prime uniform and can hear Sam yell, "Good, it's about time. The people on Earth won't care how you transport DD. They'll all probably want to try it. Probably. And they'll get the opportunity when they leave here and again when they arrive in Guardian City. First, we'll transport groups up to the Star Cruiser from Earth and down to their housing in Guardian City instead of trying to shuttle everyone through the spaceport. Now that I'm dressed, let's get down there and get this show on the road. Security transports down first and lets us know it is clear to transport down too. Sam checks me over and transports us down. The reporters are shocked when we first appear in front of them, but are quickly shouting questions. I just look at them until they quiet down. Good morning to everyone and thanks for coming. I wanted to let you know that things in space are progressing very well. We have an ore refinery and orbital factory replicator built and in place out by the asteroid belt, and we have also just purchased property here which will be used as the Arcadian orphanage for 14-18-year-olds here on Earth. The shouting starts immediately as soon as I stop to take a breath, and I just shake my head. I see you have forgotten how to act and conduct yourselves properly. I doubt any of you would act properly on board the J&J, so I may have to rethink my asking any of you if you want to go for a ride. I see a lady who has always waited to ask a question, and she has her hand up now, so I point to her and ask if she has a question. Dedeus, there are a few of us here that have been at your press conferences before and conduct ourselves accordingly. Please don't hold the actions of these others against us too. I, for one, would love to go take a trip with you and I would follow whatever rules you have. You're right. There are a few faces I recognize from previous times, and none of you were shouting out questions. The only rule I have is that anyone coming can't try and wander off. You all have to stay with the group. I point to the Lady Angela and two male reporters and say, do the four of you agree to follow this rule? All are very excited and say they will. Then the four of you need to come up here beside Sam and we will transport up to the ship. Angela asks, transport? How will you do that? I don't see a transport pad and didn't see one when you came down. How are we going to transport up to your ship? Arcadian transporters work more like the transporters in Star Trek and don't require a transporter pad like the Confederacy transporters do. Of course, my buddy Jimmy can't let us get away without shouting that I have to take him, as he's the most famous reporter there, and he has a right to go. I look at him and put my hand on my ND MK4, causing him to squeak, piss himself, and faint. I hold my arms out to my sides and grin while saying, hey, I didn't zap him this time. Sam, make sure that gets posted ASAP. Ha ha ha. We transport up to a launch landing bay on the J&J and just watch the four reporters as their mouths hang open and their heads swivel, trying to take in everything. Of course, we have a few facts and shuttles out for them to see. This is a launch landing bay for all the craft we fly. You can see some fast attack craft, or facts as we call them, and some of our shuttles. The FACs are what you saw in the video of our encounter with the swarm. We explained to them that since the J&J is so large, we'll be using transporters and elevators to get around. I don't think the sheer size of the J&J has sunk in, as they haven't seen it from the outside except for some photos. We show them the usual places and then head to the CIC. Sam warns the CIC crew that we're going to be there soon, and after the usual Guardian Prime is aboard, we head back to the launch bay to get aboard my shuttle. Once aboard, we move to the observation lounge. I tell the commander to take us to the asteroid belt, best safe speed, please, with a slow approach for our viewing pleasure. Yes, sire, the asteroid belt, best safe speed, slow approach. If you'll look out the front, you'll see us coming up on our two orbital factory replicators and our ore refinery. We will be using the replicators to produce the products for future trade and the refinery for refining minerals from asteroids. The reporters are talking a mile a minute into their recorders as we approach the asteroid belt, describing everything they see. I have to say that the commander gave them a nice, slow, scenic pass around both replicators and the refinery. They ask how much we can make in the replicators each day, how much can the refinery process daily, what it is looking for in the asteroids, etc. I tell them that the information regarding capacities is classified, and I can't tell them. I can tell them that the refinery hasn't found anything exciting yet, but you never know. I wasn't going to tell them what we were looking for at the moment. Ladies and gentlemen, next up is that big chunk of garbage floating in the Pacific. I call it the Garbage Island. We currently have 2 recycling ships there, recycling everything for use in our replicators you just saw. Commander, to take us to Garbage Island, best safe speed, please, with a slow approach. Yes, sire, Garbage Island, best safe speed, slow approach. They can see the immense mass as we approach, and you can hear several ee's, shoes, and oh my gods. They are very descriptive in the telling of what they see. Ha 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 ha. Commander, it's time to head back to the J&J. Best safe speed to the J&J with a slow approach again, please. Give them a good look at the J&J. Yes, sire, return to the J&J, best safe speed, slow approach. I explained to the reporters that they would get a good look at my flagship, the John and Janine Sanderson, or as we called her, the J&J. Then we would have a bite to eat if they wanted before transporting back to Earth and showing them the properties for our orphanage. Some of the descriptive words reporters can come up with are mind-boggling. But hey, I guess it makes it more exciting. Everyone was hungry after we landed, so we went to the dining room and I showed the reporters how to order food from the replicator. They thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. One of the reporters asked if replicators would be for sale or available for trade. I told them that I would prefer not to make replicators available on Earth, as they could cause too much damage to the world's commerce. But that would depend on whether or not a country wanted one. I said that we didn't have them on Arcadia, that we only use them in space. Sam transported us to the apartment buildings, and we gave them a quick briefing and tour, explaining what exactly it was, our reasoning for it, how those 18 years old could get more information about it, and who they should contact. I also said that we would be keeping it operating until the first sign of the swarm in the system. We posed for pictures with the reporters, answered some more questions, and watched some video of the trip. Sam had the video transferred to USB drives and gave one to each reporter. She told them the video had everything that happened since our arrival in front of them this morning, and they could compare it to what we would put on our website in 24 hours. Yes, we told them we were giving them 24 hours before we put it online. They all looked at their watches and realized we'd only been gone for a little more than 4 hours. Is everyone ready? Do you have everything you came with? Everyone did, so we took the reporters back to the area outside our office building and quickly said our goodbyes as the reporters all rushed off to get their reports on the air as quickly as possible. Back on the J&J, I had Sam show me how to split screen the TV so we could see the stations the reporters represented, as I was interested to see what they had to say. We talked about nothing special while waiting for the newscast to come on, though I noticed the girls all perked up when I mentioned going back to Arcadia for a while after the upcoming North America seminar. The reporters all did a very good job reporting on today's trip. They weren't fawning or bragging about being chosen to go. They just did a professional job of reporting. Though to a person they said they wished there had been time for a tour of the ship. Maybe next time. Another new day, and all is quiet. The first at the apartment buildings contacts Sam, saying they have completed their work and everything is ready. Access to the building entrances are working as tested, and the buildings could only be entered when authorized persons access the secure part of their Arcadia card. They said that access to individual apartments would have to be approved separately from entrance access. Sam told them for the moment to ensure that Sarah, Mandy, Sandy, Bob, Darrin, and Debbie had front entrance access and that Darrin and Debbie had access to their apartment. The other apartments would remain open for now as they all needed cleaning. The apartment first let her know access as requested had been granted, and they would get an app created for Sarah and whoever else would be giving entrance authorizations. Sarah emails Sam URLs for things she'd like for the 2-bedroom apartments. She said that anything that was doubled could be halved for a 1-bedroom. Sam and I looked at the URLs and don't see anything extravagant, So she responds to Sarah telling her that the items would start being replicated and placed in the apartments as the apartment became available. Sam also mentioned Sarah might want to have some of them go over and clean the hallways and apartments out as they've been closed for 3 months. She would send her instructions for entering the building and how to grant access to the front entrances and apartments using an app. She also let her know who currently has access to the entrances and that Darrin and Debbie had access to their old apartment. Sarah immediately responded, saying she'd be going over with a large group to get things started right after lunch. Sam let her know that was fine and to let her know if they needed anything. I called Daryl and Daryl asking them if we could meet and talk about them migrating to Arcadia. They said if I came by their butcher shop just after the noon hour, I would be able to talk to most of the family as today was payday, and they'd be there to pick up their checks. I told them Sam and I would be there. Sam and I arrived at the butcher shop a little early so we could have a look around and see how things were run. It was quite busy when we arrived, so we just stayed back near the front window as people came and went. The business slowed down after about 45 minutes and Daryl noticed us. Sorry about that. If you will come to the back office, our family has some questions they want to ask. No apologies necessary. We came a little early as we were interested in seeing your business. Lead on and we will answer whatever questions you have. We were introduced to their grandparents, parents, 4 uncles, 3 aunts, and numerous cousins. A damn big clan. Most of the questions were easily answered, and I think they wanted to hear the answers in person more than anything else. They did ask about traveling between Earth and Arcadia, as not all the family wanted to go. That is a very good question. To be honest, I don't know when there will be trips between Earth and Arcadia, but I don't see any happening for the first 2 or 3 years we are on Arcadia. Everyone will have the first 11 months to decide if they want to stay on Arcadia, and those that don't will be brought back here. Then I think most people will spend the next 2 years at least watching over their business, if they have one, saving to upgrade their housing or to buy a business, or just getting used to life on Arcadia. It would also depend on the level of interest there is for travel between the 2 systems, as well as building ships and training people to work on them. I'd more than likely get it started whenever there was enough interest shown. Vacation areas on Arcadia are something we need to look into, as well as on other planets in the Guardian solar systems. Another thing to consider will be the situation at the time concerning the swarm. How close were they to Earth, the path they were on, etc.? Sorry, I can't give you a more specific timing. I don't want to say it will happen in 2 years, and it doesn't for one reason or another. They thank me for coming and talking with them. I tell them I am really interested in them coming to Arcadia and starting a business there, as I prefer family-owned businesses over big corporations. We say our goodbyes, telling them to contact us again if they want or need to, and Sam transports us back to the J&J. I spend the rest of the day reading more about the GC app, the Elven, and the other races that had been part of it. It was very interesting that they all followed the same core laws but still had their own as well, and none were conflicting. It was sad to read about the 2 races that are now gone due to their sun going supernova. At least that need not happen again if the first really can fix a sun. I guess I'll know that soon. I'd love it if we had time to go and visit the Elven, but right now my plate was full, though it would get better as I delegated more to Larry and Sarah. I imagine the first few months on Arcadia would find more than a few people having difficulty adjusting and getting acclimated to a new world. E called and asked about getting together for official trade talks, and Sam said right now I'm available this coming week on Tuesday for sure. Sam also said it might be a good thing to talk with Mr. Lee and Dimitri, as well as both those countries would be asking for whatever the U.S. got anyways. E said she'd contact them and see if they were interested, but to pencil her in for sure. Sam told me that the Confederacy ship's crew was pissed when their AIs wouldn't allow them to transport to Earth, and all had been wondering who the fuck this Guardian Prime is. The videos of how I came to be Guardian Prime, why Confederacy military ships are no longer allowed in Earth's solar system without prior approval, and why transporting to Earth is restricted, have all been tagged as highly classified, and a reason of due to past actions of the Confederacy has been given to all the soldiers. They are in awe at the sheer size of the J&J and the BCs, as well as the videos of our encounters with the swarm. Those that were once pilots on Earth love the fact and wish the Confederacy had some. I tell Sam hopefully we won't run into a Confederacy pickup anytime soon, so we won't have to worry about pissed-off Confederacy soldiers. I'm hoping the seminar tomorrow will be better than the one in Europe and want to get an early start. So I bid Sam and the girls good night and head to the sleep trainer, thankful this course is almost completed. I have learned a lot and am grateful for the knowledge. It just sucks having to wake up, go to my bed, and try to fall asleep again. That reminded me I had wanted to ask Sam about sleep training in my bed. Sam, can you check if it is possible to somehow do sleep training while in my bed instead of in a sleep trainer? Can the sleep trainer be incorporated into my bed somehow? I don't know, DD, but I'll have the engineers look into it. Thanks, Sam. Oh man, I wonder if we should give everyone PicoBots so they can feel this good waking up. And have I ever mentioned how much I love not having to shave every morning? I do my morning ritual and Sam comes in to tell me everything is running well. There are no problems with the recyclers or the OFR, and the Bearman refinery is running smoothly at 35% capacity. I asked Sam if there is any reason for us to up the capacity, and she says not at this time. Sam informs me that E confirmed for Tuesday at our office building, and both Mr. Lee and Dimitri were interested and would be there as well. I say it sounds good to me, and that we'd go over the list we made once again before the meeting. Sam, are you and the girls ready to go to Texas? The land of big cowboy hats and bigger belt buckles. They say everything is bigger in Texas. Ha 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 ha. Sam groans, saying, "You really need to work on that, DD, but yes, we are ready." The seminar is being held in a renovated shopping center, so we'll transport to the parking lot and walk to the entrance. The seminar is using all 3 floors of the shopping center and has a large variety of information and display booths covering pretty much everything a person could think of in regards to ranching and farming. One of the most interesting discussions was not taking place at an information booth, but at one of the rest areas where people could sit and have a coffee. The topic of discussion was about opportunities to start over debt-free on Arcadia. People questioned if the prices listed on the website were guaranteed. Could they move back to Earth and their old property if they didn't like living on Arcadia? And what would happen to their property here on Earth while they were in Arcadia? Sam, have these questions been asked on the website? No, they are not, DD. As a matter of fact, there are no questions concerning ranching or farming on the website. Ah, excuse me for interrupting, but why haven't these questions been asked on the Arcadia website? I know any questions asked do get answered. An older gentleman looks at me and responds, "Well, Dedius, yes, I recognize who you are. Can I call you Dedius?" I nod my head yes. I figured with all the questions you were asking of the various associations that a lot of your information concerning ranching and farming was based on hope and a prayer, and not on personal experience. You are partially correct, sir. Will you introduce yourself, and may I call you by your name, or I will continue to call you sir if you prefer? Forgive my manners, Didaeus. I am Ray Stevens. Please call me Ray. What do you mean I'm partially correct? Pleased to meet you, Ray. Please call me DD. I say you are partially correct because you are right that I don't have a lot of personal experience in ranching and farming. That is why I ask questions of the experts. I asked all those questions because you, and ranchers and farmers like you, know better than I would what you need to operate successfully, and I want everyone to have the best chance to do so. However, while the projections listed on the website are not based on my personal experience in the industry, they are based on averaged and projected costs to produce a product. These costs include everything related to producing a product, including salaries and wages for workers. This end cost is what is listed on the website, and while not guaranteed, I think they will be very close. So I say you are partially correct in that I don't have experience in the industry and have asked a lot of questions. But these questions weren't solely what prices were based on. Does that answer that question? Okay, I can understand that. What about leaving our properties here while we go to Arcadia? What will happen to them, and what if we want to come back? In answer to your question about wanting to move back to Earth, everyone will have 11 months to decide whether they want to stay and live on Arcadia or move back to Earth. If a person decides they want to move back to Earth, Arcadia will move them back at that time. After the 11 months are up, you would have to stay on Arcadia until whenever trips between Earth and Arcadia happen. And I cannot say when that would be. What happens to your properties on Earth would depend on what you did with them. If you sell them to someone here on Earth, there is nothing Arcadia can do. However, you can sell them to Arcadia and pay off the total amount that is owed against the property. Then should you decide at 11 months to move back to Earth, you can buy the property back for the same amount Arcadia paid you for it. If you decide to stay on Arcadia, then Arcadia will own the property on Earth and do with it what we want. Are there any other questions I can answer for you while we are here? Yes, sir. My name is Roberto Lopez, and I have a question. What does it mean on your website that if I buy the ranch or farm on Arcadia, that I don't own the property? Well, Roberto, I'll tell you straight that you will own the ranch or farm and everything associated with it, but you won't own the actual land itself. You can take the animals with you if you move. You can take the buildings apart and take them with you if you move. But can you take the land with you? No, you can't, as there is no way for you to do so. That is why I say you won't own the land. You will, however, have use of all the land for as long as you own the ranch or farm. Do you see now what is meant by that statement? Yes, I do, but it doesn't seem right not to own the land too. I do like the plans and layouts you have on the website, though, and also that everything will be new and shouldn't need to be replaced or repaired right away. If there are no other questions, Sam and I will leave you now and go wander the seminar some more. I hope we see some of you on board the Star Cruiser, ready to go to Arcadia. I believe you will love the planet and the area around Guardian City that's been set aside for farming and ranching. I shake hands with Ray, Roberto, and a few others. Then Sam and I take our leave. Sam and I wander around the different booths and eventually have the chance to talk to people from the various associations. They all liked the fact that I used the information some of their members came up with in regards to the farms and ranches. I told them that their members had the experience and knowledge to know what they needed. I didn't. And that's why I contacted them. I'd think myself pretty stupid to ask for advice from experts and then ignore it. There wasn't anything else we wanted to see again, so I had Sam take us back to the J&J. There was nothing that needed urgent attention, so I read some more of Arcadia's and the GC app's histories until Sam and I go over our list of things needed for Arcadia one more time, and then I call it a night. Tuesday morning, we head down for the trade meeting with E, Mr. Lee, and Dimitri. Everyone arrives on time, and after some polite chit-chat, we get down to the business at hand. As I thought, there was very little difference in what each country was looking to trade for, though there was a big difference in what each country offered in return, as I expected there would be. It was funny to see each country add to their list what another country had asked for that wasn't on their list, though. After 4 days of back and forth, we had an agreement in place that each of us was happy with. Each country would receive specific Arcadian technology and, what was more important, the theories behind the technology. Could the theories be weaponized or lead to them becoming a spacefaring nation? Maybe, though it would be because of how they expanded on the theory and thereby of their own making. Arcadia got what we needed, though, not everything in the numbers we wanted. So all in all, it seemed each of us was happy. Now they had to take it back to their governments for approval. I knew my government would approve, ha ha ha. We each grab a pen, and I quickly ask Sam to make sure we get photos of our signing the documents. She assures me there will be photos and video. We quickly sign each agreement, then double-check to make sure each has 4 signatures and 14 pages. Yes, that is right. The whole agreement is only 14 pages long. We joke that it might get rejected because it is too short. I remind them I'll be posting the agreement in its entirety on the Arcadia website at midnight. Now let's go see if there are any press outside. We head for the doors, and it is quiet when we open them and step out and down in front of the media. Good morning, everyone. We, meaning myself representing Arcadia, E representing America, Mr. Lee representing China, and Dimitri representing Russia, are very happy to tell you that we have come to a trade agreement between Arcadia and each of the countries they represent. Each of us is happy with the agreement and believes that our respective governments will be as well and approve the agreement as we have written it. We did joke that it might be too short at only 14 pages long to be approved. We have agreed that Arcadia will provide certain Arcadian technologies and the theories behind said technologies. And in return, each of these 3 countries will provide Arcadia with specific types and quantities of Earth flora and fauna. As you can see by what I hold in my hand that it is not a huge document, it really is only 14 pages long. I hope that the politicians responsible for accepting or rejecting the agreement will be able to do so without trying to make any changes. And that's all we are asking of them, to either accept the agreement as is or reject it. It is our hope they accept it. I know Arcadia will be accepting it. I will tell everyone that the complete agreement will be posted on the Arcadia website tonight at midnight. Now Sam will point you out and we will answer your questions as best we can. Sam points at a reporter and they ask, "What type of tech will Arcadia be providing?" Arcadia will provide stasis, medical, AI, and communications tech. There will be photos and videos of the various equipment the technology is used in on the Arcadia website tonight. Sam points at another reporter who asks, "E, why are you part of this and not someone with more experience?" E steps to the mic. Firstly, there is no one with a lot of experience in negotiating with an alien civilization, even though Daedalus is from Earth. And we can see with the Confederacy how well the last administration did. Due to our familial friendship, I was asked to contact Daedalus and see if he would be interested in trade talks with our government. Daedalus mentioned to include Russia and China in the same talks, and from there, things move quickly, and you now see the four of us here in front of you today with a mutually beneficial agreement. Sam points at a reporter, but my friend Jimmy starts yelling questions. None of us respond, but he keeps yelling, and no one does anything to shut him up. None of us say anything as we turn and re-enter the building. Wow, he only lasted 2 questions. We say our goodbyes, and Sam and I transport back to the J&J. Hey, Sam, if everything is under control and there are no immediate needs, let's say go back to Arcadia for a while. Maybe ask Larry and Sarah if they want to come for a week, and Sarah can see the actual orphanage while Larry sees Guardian City. Why not give each of them a call and see if they want to go for Chinese food tonight, and we'll ask them if they'd like to go. I know I mentioned going before, but it seemed like there was always something to do. Going to Arcadia sounds great, DD. I'll call Larry and Sarah right now and see if they want to join us for dinner tonight. Oh, you'll like this, DD. Larry answered Sarah's phone. It seems the two of them have hooked up. And yes, they will join us tonight. Sarah did ask if Bob, Mandy, and Sandy could come, as they have been helping her a lot. I told her it would be okay if they came too. Did you want to invite them to Arcadia as well? Sarah and Larry got together. Cool. Sure, Bob, Sandy, and Mandy can come to dinner tonight and to Arcadia with us. The more the merrier. I'm kidding. Please don't invite the whole neighborhood. Let me get changed and we'll head out for dinner. We were the first to arrive at the restaurant, so I asked the hostess if they could seat 10 of us together, far from the entrance if at all possible. She said there was an area by the far corner walls open, but we would have to move some tables together. I tell her that is fine, and she asks us to follow her. I notice a table with 5 men sitting around it, watching us as we follow the hostess. I ask one to check them out for me. She tells me those 5 plus 14 other people have concealed weapons in the restaurant, and several are known Earth First protesters. I tell one to have all the security girls come to the restaurant, and for them cover the known Earth Firsters and those that have concealed weapons. I tell the girls that if any of them pulls a weapon to take them out immediately. In our section, 2 busboys and I move a few tables together, and I thank them and the hostess, telling her I am expecting 5 more people to arrive soon, 2 males and 3 females. We take our seats and I order a Sprite while we wait for the others to arrive. I explain that the girls with me can't eat or drink anything right now, but I will pay a cover for them instead if that is okay, though the 5 still coming will be eating and drinking. I see the group of 5 men looking and talking in whispers and ask one of the security girls to fill me in with what they are talking about. 1-3 tells me that one of the men is saying I have to be a high cap to have so many girls with me and that they should take me out. The guy whispering back to him is telling him, "You are that Guardian Prime guy and they shouldn't fuck with me." He tells him you had challenged Earth Firsters to stop attacking and killing people and to sign up to fight and kill the swarm instead. I see Larry and the others have arrived, so I tell one to continue to keep an eye on the group of Earth Firsters and those with weapons and let me know if it looks like they are going to do something. After a little chit-chat and time to peruse the menu, we decide to get a whole bunch of different dishes and everyone can try a bit of everything. When the food came, it smelled and looked delicious. The security girls never said anything during our meal, and I didn't notice the group of men continuing to look in our direction, so I put them in the back of my mind and enjoyed the meal and the company. I looked over towards the entrance to the restaurant to see 4 very big men enter, and my mind screamed, "Confederacy!" I had barely finished warning my security that there might be a pickup happening when the view to the outside goes gray as the interdiction field went up, and a loud voice started saying that this is a Confederacy pickup. I see the group of Earth Firsters and the others with concealed weapons immediately jump up and pull their weapons, though one of them just falls to the floor with his hands over his head. In the space of a couple seconds, there are more than a few loud crackling sounds, similar to very loud static discharges, and the 18 people that had pulled their weapons joined the one that dropped to the floor on his own. The Confederacy soldiers are yelling at everyone to stay where they are and not to move. One of them puts a circular pad on the floor, and 6 more Confederacy soldiers quickly step through and spread out while moving towards the people that were down and unconscious on the floor. One of the just-arrived Confederacy soldiers looks a lot like C.19-21 Connors from the testing center. I yell out, "C.19-21 Connors!" and I see it as her as she turns her head towards me. She raises her hand with one finger out, letting me know to give her a minute. The soldiers check out the people that are knocked out, put their weapons in a bag, and then use tie wraps to secure their hands behind their backs. The Confederacy quickly has the restaurant secured in CPL. Connors comes over with a Lieutenant Casper, and after introducing us, asks me if I know what happened. CP ACO Connors, Lieutenant Casper. My security detail noticed 19 people with concealed weapons shortly after we entered the restaurant, and that a few of them were known to be Earth First protesters. I called the rest of my security detail to come to the restaurant, telling them when they arrived to keep an eye on the Earth Firsters and those with concealed weapons, and if they drew their weapons, they were to be taken out immediately. We had finished eating when I noticed 4 huge men arriving that could only be Confederacy people. I had just warned my security that a pickup might be about to take place when one of the soldiers yelled that this was a Confederacy pickup. 18 of the 19 people my security teams were watching immediately pulled their weapons, and my security teams neutralized them. The 19th person had hit the floor with his hands on his head when the others jumped up and pulled their weapons. Then the 6 of you arrived, and here we are. The ELT gets that vacant look in his eyes, and I know he is talking with an AI. The AI confirms your statement, Didius. I want to thank you on behalf of my team for saving their asses. The show wasn't supposed to start until after the 6 of us arrived. Someone jumped the gun announcing the pickup. You might have pissed a lot of the Confederacy off, but I am glad you were here tonight and will make sure it gets spread around. Glad we were able to help, Lieutenant. The Lieutenant has the 18 people thrown through the transporter, saying they will be dealt with on lunar base. He is trying to decide what to do with person #19, the one that fell to the floor when the others jumped up. I see it as the guy that was telling the other one who I was. He is let go, as even though he was with them, he didn't pull a weapon or try to interfere with the pickup. I go up and tell him he might want to choose better people to hang out with, as he might not be so lucky next time. Once the bodies were cleared out of the restaurant, the lieutenant got the extraction underway. My security girls ask if we can stick around and see the show. I tell them we don't have a choice as the interdiction field is up, so we can't leave. They just laughed and say, "Yeah, okay, sire." Really? You can get out of the interdiction field? Of course we can, sire. After all, it is just an energy field, and we are energy beings. Very cool and definitely something to remember. We watch as some of the women and men get naked so they can try and get picked up. But it doesn't seem to be the wild free-for-all, like the one that I was caught in with Melissa. Yes, test drives were going on, but it wasn't a big orgy fest. CPL Connors comes back near us, and I mentioned to her that this pickup is a lot tamer than the other one I was in. There are still a lot of naked women and a lot of fucking going on, but it seemed like a lot fewer women were willing to fuck or suck a guy that was going from girl to girl to girl. She laughed, saying, "It is tamer, and it's all your fault, Dee Dee. Since word got out about being able to go to Arcadia, plus the video with Mr. 6.5 asshole, way to go, Sam, the women in pickups aren't as desperate as they once were. They aren't as accepting of asshole sponsors or sponsors that try to fuck a lot of girls during the pickup. I can tell you it seems like the conks that have arrived on the moon recently are happier, less scared, and I know there have been a lot fewer recycled. It's almost like things are civilized. Ah, the last one is finished. Time for us to go. Take care, DD. You too, Sam. It was nice seeing you again. It was nice seeing you too, Seed Python Connors. Stay safe. Well, that was interesting. The pickup, I mean, not the first part where people got zapped. Why do you say it was interesting, Sandy? Everyone seemed calm in this one, Dee. Mandy and I were in one before, and we couldn't bring ourselves to do what the other girls were doing to get picked up. We might have been able to if it had been like what we just saw. I talked with C. Connors about that, as it was nothing like one I was in before either. And she said that many pickups now were like what we saw tonight. It seems with people knowing about Arcadia and Sam's Mr. 6.5 video, they are not as scared anymore and so are not willing to be treated as badly as they were before in order to leave Earth. Now, are all of you going to come with us to Arcadia for a week? I want to leave tomorrow around 6 p.m. We'll meet everyone at Sarah's place and transport you up to the J&J. Everyone said they were in and they would meet at Sarah's place to be picked up there. Okay, we will pick you up there at 5:30 p.m. tomorrow then. Now let's see if we can pay our bill and head home, as it looks like most people have gotten themselves straightened out now. I paid the bill and we said goodbye in the parking lot before Sam transported us up to the ship. Well, that was most certainly an entertaining evening. I am so very glad to have had all of you with me, and that you could zap those fuckers before they could fire their weapons. It could have turned out just like it did when my parents were killed. Yes, thankfully though it didn't, and tomorrow we are going back to Arcadia. The girls and I are so excited, Dee. How long do you plan on our staying there? I'm not sure, Sam. I'd like to spend a month or so. Don't forget we have some visits to make in late July and August, though. We can bring or send Larry, Sarah, Bob, Mandy, and Sandy back to Earth after a week in Guardian City so they can continue their work. We also need to see how many people we have at the moment committed to migrating to Arcadia. I didn't want to ask Larry tonight, but we'll need to know numbers soon. I hate to see the Star Cruiser just sitting there. I know that as things stand right now, we have 123,430 people ready and willing to migrate to Arcadia. 83,400 of those are made up of families with 3 or more persons in the family, and the remaining 53,030 are singles with women at 17,730 and men at 22,300. The single people are not related to any of the families, so we have a viable gene pool for future generations right now. We do need more farmers and ranchers, so hopefully after our visit to Texas, we will get a spike in applications as we did after the European seminar. We can continue to use androids until we do have enough farmers and ranchers, though. Which reminds me, Riker informed me that the first planet-wide harvest has been completed and is in a warehouse. I'd say we should be looking at taking everyone to Arcadia shortly after your first round of official visits is over. You do want to spend time on Arcadia while everyone gets settled, don't you? Oh, you got that right, Samantha. You can plan on staying on Arcadia for some time after we take everyone there. Barring any emergencies, of course. That is what I am hoping for anyway. But you know that old saying about the best laid plans of mice and men. And thank Riker for the info about the harvest. I'm glad there are enough androids to do the entire planet. Ha ha ha, that is true, Dee. We can plan and hope it works out. As to the harvest, you need to remember the harvest happens at different times in different areas of Arcadia, so the actual harvesting is not done planet-wide at the same time. By the way, have you thought about which shields will stay behind tomorrow? Yes, I have, Sam. Shields 1 and 2 will stay here tomorrow, and they will swap every week while we are on Arcadia. My shuttle can bring Larry, Sarah et al. Back here after a week and return to Arcadia after refueling. Anything else we need to go over before tomorrow? Nothing I can think of, Dee. Oh yes, the engineers did integrate the sleep trainer training module into your bed, so you can try it out tonight, and they'll monitor it to ensure it is working properly. Excellent. Please thank them for me, Sam. I do appreciate everything you first do for me. Now I'm going to read some more about Arcadia's and the GC app's histories, then try out the sleep trainer in my bed. The info on the Elven is very interesting reading. They have a lot of hidden subtlety and meaning in their body language and gestures. Yes, they do. Dee, as do many races, and if you know some of those gestures, it will only help you if you meet them. And it is almost certain that you will at some time in the future. You seem to be really interested in the histories of Arcadia and the GC app. I think that is great. Please let me know if any of us first can help or answer any questions you may have. I will, Sam.